Hey, I'm Jake and work with Kevin Day at Central Metro Realty and have some info to share about scheduling showings and tours of property. As you most likely have heard in the news or read in nearly any publication, in 2024, the National Association of Realtors, often referred to as NAR, was a party to a lawsuit. In addition to a financial settlement in the millions, it enacted radical change in how we schedule showings and do business. Now, every realtor in the nation is required to have a buyer-tenant representation agreement signed, along with a pre-showing meeting to engage in a conversation about the process of working with a realtor before we can show you a single property. The days of contacting a realtor to see if they can meet you at a property real quick on your way home after work are over and a thing of the past. The only way to casually preview homes without having to go through this process is now via open houses. We've not met anyone who likes these changes on either side, but what we think is irrelevant and these requirements are non-negotiable. It does create a space where the real estate professional and the consumer engage in a more meaningful way, and the action of looking at or for property is more intentional, but it does now take some planning and forethought. This video is not to take the place of the required realtor meeting and signing of the buyer-tenant representation agreement before seeing property. It's just to inform you of what's going on and why. So when you do meet with Kevin via Zoom, FaceTime, or face-to-face, you will be more informed and can have your questions ready for a more meaningful and hopefully shorter meeting, so you can get on with the business of looking at property quicker. To understand the changes affecting realtors and consumers, it's important to grasp some basic principles of real estate brokerage. First, agents work under brokers who hold the agent's licenses. This business entity is called the brokerage. In a real estate transaction, money is never paid directly from the buyer or seller to the agent. Only the brokerage can accept payment for real estate transactions. The realtor is only acting as an agent for the broker, and that is where we get the term real estate agent. By the way, you will notice the word realtor is in all caps and followed by the registered trademark symbol. That is because it is a registered trademark of the National Association of Realtors, also known as NAR. This designation signifies that a real estate professional is a member of NAR and adheres to its strict code of ethics. We will go into more detail about this highly coveted real estate designation in another video. Once a real estate transaction closes, typically at a title company, the title company disperses all funds and pays the brokerages involved. It's usually two brokerages, the brokerage that represented the seller, the listing brokerage, and the brokerage that represented the buyer, the buyer's brokerage. The brokerage then keeps a portion of that fee and compensates the agent. KevinDayRealEstate.com, the website for Kevin Day with Central Metro Realty, who produced this video, is a leader in using video marketing to sell property. Kevin said, "For exceptional communication, which we are known for, we need to include a visual along with the explanation of the brokerage compensation breakdown, both old and new. So here we go. Here is a seller. In the past, when they decided to sell their property, they'd hire a realtor. That is usually an agent for a brokerage, if not the actual broker, and they are the listing brokerage representing the seller and their best interest. Once the property sells, the title company disperses the transaction compensation to the listing brokerage, and they split that fee between the listing brokerage and the buyer's brokerage. From there, the brokerages split the fee again, keeping a portion for the business, the brokerage, and paying the agent, the realtor, that performed the professional service for each side of the transaction. Often when people see the amounts paid in real estate fees, they think it's a lot, but there are many portions of this pie that are paid to many different professionals and businesses involved in making the sale happen. You'll also note above, the seller is paying for the buyer side of the compensation. Some people didn't like this and is one of the reasons for the lawsuit. They think the seller should pay for the selling broker and the buyer should pay for the buyer's broker. That is the root for a lot of the changes we are dealing with now brought on by the settlement. Key changes from the lawsuit settlement are how the realtor is paid and that it be disclosed completely upfront to all involved. So let's talk about the changes in buyer's agent compensation. The NAR lawsuit settlement now mandates that the buyer acknowledge they are responsible for the buyer's agent's compensation and that they sign a buyer's representation agreement acknowledging this prior to engaging in the act of touring property. The buyer's agent can still negotiate with the seller's agent to have the seller contribute to, or cover completely, the buyer's agent's compensation because the new regulations do not prohibit sellers from paying the buyer's representation fee. It's just that now, as part of the settlement, it needs to be negotiated outside of the MLS. Some sellers will choose to pay the buyer's agent's compensation, while others will not. You can decide to make an offer on a home where the seller agrees to pay this fee or choose not to if the seller refuses. I hope you're hearing the trend here, the subtle message. The seller is not required or obligated to pay the compensation to the buyer's agent, but they most likely will because to not would be undermining their own best interest. We anticipate that most will still pay at minimum part of the buyer's compensation, if not all of it. Remember, compensations are negotiable between all parties, as they always have been. There is no traditional or standard commission amount. Everything is open to negotiation, and each real estate brokerage will have their own individual rates they charge. The compensation might seem substantial, but is it worth it? Absolutely, if you choose the right realtor to represent you. Seller's agents work for the seller and only represent the seller's best interests, not yours. You most definitely need a buyer's agent or tenant's agent dedicated to working on your behalf, representing you. Experts agree that buyers who try to represent themselves often end up paying more for a home. This is because they lack the negotiation skills and market knowledge that an agent has. Additionally, they might miss out on finding the best home since they don't have access to all the listings and information an agent does. Without a real estate expert on their side, buyers can face legal headaches, unexpected costs, and potential litigation. Real estate transactions are complex. Buyers who decide to represent themselves might think they're saving money, but considering the overall financial investment and potential liability, it's really a false, if not delusional, belief. Having representation makes a significant difference. For instance, according to the National Association of Realtors, homes sold directly by owners, known as for sale by owners, tend to sell for an average of $60,000 to $90,000 less than those sold with an agent. If professional representation can make such a difference for sellers, imagine how much it can benefit you, the buyer, even if you're paying the agent's compensation. Here's a summary of how an experienced realtor will guide you toward the right decision and help you get a place, at the price, and terms that match your needs. They start by connecting you to a reputable and knowledgeable loan officer to help you understand what mortgage amount you can afford. Having a pre-approval letter is 100% a requirement before you start looking at homes. Once the pre-approval letter is in place, your agent will help you clarify your needs, priorities, and must-haves. Before taking you on home tours, they'll research different neighborhoods and homes to find great matches. They'll explore what is available presently in the market and, where applicable, provide detailed information on schools, neighborhoods, local amenities, parks, museums, and more. An experienced buyer's agent knows things you might not consider, such as traffic patterns in certain areas, and why some neighborhoods are selling for more or less, and why. Before you head out to tour homes, you'll have a clear idea of what you're looking for and be able to focus on what truly matters and fits your criteria. Once you find a home you love, your agent will research the market further and talk to the seller's agent about the seller's priorities and needs. This is when they will also ask if the seller is willing to pay the buyer's agent's compensation. This helps you write an attractive offer at a price you can afford with terms you want, or decide if making an offer is the right move. Your agent will then present your offer and begin the negotiation process. This is where the real work starts, and it's done with your best interest front and center at all times. When working with Kevin as your realtor, once he successfully negotiates an acceptable offer and everyone has signed off on it, he will coordinate earnest and option monies with the title company, connect you with home insurance and home warranty providers, and advise you on the best options for your situation. He'll manage meeting all deadlines as described in the contract, assist with finding and scheduling inspections, meet the appraiser to ensure a good outcome, and keep you informed and on track every step of the way. With 30 years' experience in Dallas and Dallas area neighborhoods and suburbs, he has dozens of trusted partners in the title industry and mortgage industry. He knows everyone from home warranty reps to weekly lawn service companies. The scope of his professional connections with trusted vendors is vast and helpful to every buyer. A realtor's role also includes steering you clear from any legal liability and ensuring the home closes successfully. Kevin will spend hundreds of hours, much of it behind the scenes, protecting you and your initial earnest money investment, working on your behalf daily, with the ultimate goal of getting you in your new home. And he is only compensated when you successfully complete a purchase or lease. Per the buyer's representation agreement, you are contractually responsible for his compensation, although Kevin will negotiate to get the seller to cover it if they are not already offering to. As I mentioned earlier, we anticipate that most sellers will cover the buyer's representation fees, and this will be a non-issue. Rest assured, you will have all of this information in front of you prior to moving forward with your initial offer to purchase, so you can make the most informed decision possible. This has been a lot of information. Thank you for making it to the end. Lastly, I wanted to add, we fully acknowledge signing a buyer's rep agreement sounds like an intimidating and slightly uncomfortable proposition just to schedule a showing of a property. It's uncomfortable for us also. We would have never asked this of a client in the past. The reason we are doing it now is because it is mandated of realtors as a result of the NAR lawsuit settlement. While open houses have always been a tool in the real estate tool belt, we predict they will become much more popular and in demand by the consumer because it will give them a chance to tour properties without having to engage in the now required initial meetings with realtors, buyer's rep agreements, and commitment that the buyer's rep agreement brings. We also predict there will be a 6 to 12-month period of extreme confusion for the consumer as this information is rolled out and made public. When someone wanting to see a home is told they have to sign an agreement, they are going to think, I'll just call another realtor who won't make me sign this document. After talking to another realtor, perhaps several, and they realize this is now what the landscape of looking at property is, we hope they see the value we bring and come back and work with us. Believe me, I totally respect contacting another realtor before signing anything, and probably would have done the same. In the long term, the real estate professionals who are going to come out on top and survive this massive shift in our industry are the ones who are nurturing, patient, and great communicators, who can effectively share this information in an engaging and hyper-informative way. We encourage you to speak with other realtors and see how well they do in thoroughly explaining this information, and then decide who you want to engage with as you look for a new home. Due to our commitment to the clients we serve, we are confident you'll contact us, and we'd be honored to assist you in your real estate needs in any way. Kevin, myself and the team at KevinDayRealEstate.com appreciate you reaching out and thank you for watching this video. If you'd like to proceed, text Kevin at 469-583-2527 and he can get you scheduled. Best of luck on your home search.